Hey y'all, welcome to today's episode of Cozy Couch Astrology, where we're going to go over February's forecast. I am your hostess, Mick Collins with Sabitree Consulting. I practice traditional Western astrology with whole sign houses. So grab your drink of choice and your cozy blanket, and let's get started. We're sticking to the 7 traditional planets today, not because I don't like Neptune, Pluto, or Uranus, but because I'm doing the keep it simple, sweetheart method. This month has a rocky start, I'm not going to lie. I know Venus in Pisces is exciting most of the time because she's cozy there. It's her exaltation, which means it's kind of like when you go to your best friend's house and their parents absolutely love you when they're like, hey, baby, come on in. You hungry? It's like that. But for her entire stay, she's got tension with Mars. Tension could mean dirty, fantastic sex, but it's looking more like social unrest. The day she entered Pisces was on January 26th of 2023. And that's when there was the videos of Tyree Nichols that were released to the public. We're going to see this tension play out between the police and the community in Tennessee, in the HarperCollins strike that's going on between the big publishing house and the editors and workers who aren't being paid enough. And then HarperCollins is announcing that there's going to be layoffs. We're seeing this in Mumbai with the mass strikes against the mistreatment of women, in the AI deepfake porn of popular influencers, and in the state of Florida getting rid of AP African American Studies. It's a complete mess. The tension comes to a peak on the 4th at 10:28 p.m. when the square becomes exact between Venus and Mars. The energy is of sorrow and coming to grips with reality. It's the people in power trying to make others do what they don't want to do with sheer force and basically shitty communication. Venus has the upper hand here because she rules this chart. She's trying to create social change and justice and equality while Mars is just not having it. It's like someone trying to mansplain to someone else who has way more knowledge than the other person, being like, all right, you want to think 2 + 2 = 7, go ahead. The next day, on the 5th, there's a full moon at 16 degrees of Leo at 1:28 p.m. All right, if you're the kind of person who likes to charge their crystals or do cleansing rituals during the full moon, I would really think twice about it. The energy of the chart is stressful and of awards that haven't been earned or deserved. There's a possibility of strong punishments and the hammer coming down. Like, when a parent gives a punishment to their kid that doesn't actually match what the kid did. Mars is just out of pocket on this day. On the 11th, Mercury enters Aquarius and joins the Sun and Saturn at 6:23 a.m. That asshole energy comes back. The vibe is just hurt feelings. The kind you get when you're trying to be reasonable and have an adult conversation about the hard topic and the other person just isn't fighting fair. People are finding their words, they're communicating effectively and calmly, but Mars's words are not as harsh as before, but I wouldn't be surprised if it ends up being just like pretty PR spins to protect assholes from being assholes. On February 16th at 11:48 a.m., there's an exact joining of Saturn and the Sun. Saturn is protected here because he's in his own sign. But basically what this means is that his ego is just, it's wild. All right. We're back on that stressful energy and it's just not fun. The hammer is still coming down strong, but the people are in charge and bold, stubborn as hell and unyielding. Mars feels like it needs to force and adjust the social needs of others. Moving on to the next day at 9:13 p.m. on the 17th, there's the same vibe from the 4th, which is not fun. It's sorrowful again. Mars and Jupiter have a nice relationship here. It's possible the people are getting ready to unearth something hidden and bring it to the surface for the public to see. There's a lot of back and forth going on this month between Venus and Mars about what is fair and what is just. On February 18th, it has the sun moving into Pisces at 5:35 p.m. Ironically, this is just after the sun has set, so the sun doesn't have nearly as much power in the dark. It's the moon that has more power. So he's leaving Aquarius, which he wasn't happy to be in the first place. It's one of his least favorite signs because it's the opposite of his own sign. It's like being stuck in a dungeon without any lights on. In his move, he's leaving Saturn behind and lowering the ego of Mars and adding light to Venus. It's goodbye drama. It's going to feel good. It's very much a what you see is what you get energy and a focus on the everyday details of life. There's also an exact joining of the moon and Venus at this time. There's a possibility that the information that was unearthed the day before on the 17th is brought to the public eye. A detailed report on all the PR work from before debunking everything. I could be wrong though. The tension of the Mars-Venus square ends on the 20th, thank God, when we've got both a Pisces new moon at 2:05 a.m. and then 50 minutes later, Venus enters Aries, joining the other benefic of abundance, Jupiter. This is yummy energy. The vibe of the new moon is doing brave things and being tested to the limit. Jupiter is the chart ruler, and the new moon is in Jupiter's sign while Venus is still cozy, even though she's on her way out. But she's on her way out to join Jupiter, which she does at 2:55 a.m. Both parties are of abundance, but not the same kind. Venus receives all things with little to no effort, while Jupiter says, if you work hard, he'll reward you, but you better work. When Venus enters Aries, that friction with Mars becomes harmonious and the nature of Venus. The entire time she's in Aries, she's saying, breathe and work. Keep your eyes on your own paper until March 16th when she enters her own sign of Taurus. Be careful with the benefics, though. They make things grow, but they can't exactly tell the difference of what they're making grow. That's on you. The last traditional aspect of the month happens on February 22nd at 3:13 p.m. It's a strong, harmonious aspect between Mercury, the messenger, and Mars. Now, Mars is still getting faster from when he was retrograde, and he's still the troublemaker in the community. So we've got the possibility of assertive communication that can be overbearing. The people represented by the moon is sitting pretty between the two benefics. She's being blessed by both Venus and Jupiter here, even though the vibe might feel like a pressure cooker. It's like knowing you've got the voice like Whitney and having stage fright at the same time. It's time to think about how this month can work for you and to your advantage. If you've got a kink for S&M or Dom sub things, the beginning of this month could be absolutely freaking amazing for you. If you've got that asshole coworker who's trying to be domineering, just let that shit go, because remember, you're cozy. How can you use the friction between Mars and Venus this month? Where is Gemini and Pisces in your chart? If you don't know which house this is in your chart, head on over to astro.com. It's a free site that lets you look up your chart. Just remember, this forecast is for traditional whole sign houses. If you prefer a different astrology method, that is perfectly fine. When you're trying to figure things out, remember to keep it simple, sweetheart. Astrology is a language, and it doesn't need to be technical. It can be direct and fun. You're worthy of all the good things coming your way. And I'd really appreciate it if you like this video to just hit like or subscribe. And also down below, I'm going to link to my mailing list. So if you want more goodies and more helpers of how you can reach your goals for 2023, just go on down and hit that link. Thanks. Until next time, I'm Mick.